Bab man lam yatatawwa' ba'da al-maktuba. Someone not performing voluntary prayers after the obligatory ones. Okay? First we learned the importance of praying tatawwu' after fard. But what if a person does not pray that tatawwu'? There's no sin in that. حدثنا علي بن عبد الله قال حدثنا سفيان عن عمرو قال سمعت أبا أش-sha'tha جابرا قال سمعت ابن عباس رضي الله عنه قال صليت مع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم 8. Ibn Abbas said that I prayed with the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم 8 rak'at جميعا together. وسبعا جميعا and 7 together. Which salah is that? 8 and 7? What's going on? قلت يا أبا أش-sha'tha أظنه أخر الظهر وعجل العصر. So Amr, the narrator, he said that I said to Abu Ash-shatha that I think that he delayed Zuhr and prayed Asr early. That's how it was 8. وعجل العشاء وأخر المغرب. And he prayed Isha early and delayed Maghrib. So that's how it was 7. قال وأنا أظنه. He said, I think so too. Okay? Now, what does this hadith mean? These 8 rak'at are referring to the 4 of Zuhr and 4 of Asr. And the 7 is referring to the 3 of Maghrib and 4 of Isha. So what's happening over here? Prayers are being combined. But they're being performed in full. So this means that this was not during travel. You understand? This was not during travel, because in travel, what do? You join the prayers and you also shorten them. So what does this hadith tell us? Something that I mentioned to you earlier also, that in situations of extreme need, it is correct for a person to join prayers. And which prayers would you join? Zuhr and Asr, Maghrib and Isha. Okay? Instead of leaving them completely, you should not leave them at all. Okay? Don't leave them. But what can you do? You can join them. This should not be a habit. This should not be an everyday thing or an every other day thing. No. Sometimes, in situations of extreme need, you can join prayers. Okay? Now, why is Imam Bukhari mentioning this hadith over here? Because the thing is that when you join prayers, so you pray Zuhr and Asr together, you're joining them. What did Ibn Abbas say? That the Prophet ﷺ, I prayed 8 rak'at with him, jami'an. What does that mean? That the fard of Zuhr were followed by the fard of Asr. Where did the sunnah go? Where did the sunnah of Zuhr go? They weren't performed over here. Understand? So remember this rule. When you're joining prayers, you have to pray them one after the other with nothing else in between. Okay? You have to pray them one after the other with nothing else in between. Not even the sunnah ratiba. Okay? Of course, when you're traveling, you don't perform the sunnah ratiba. Isn't it? When you're traveling, you don't perform the sunnah, you just perform the fard. Right? But when you're in your city, you're not traveling, you are at home. So for example, let's say, you prayed Asr, you were so tired, you fell asleep. Now what happened? You woke up when it was Isha time. Okay, so now, or Isha time is just beginning. So then what do? You perform Maghrib, and with that you perform Isha. Let's say there was an emergency situation, right? Somebody's in the hospital, and you have to be there with them by their side constantly, and you only have a few minutes to go and pray. So in that situation, you're joining your prayers. You're performing Maghrib and Isha together. So then what are you going to do? You're going to pray 3 fard and then 2 sunnah and then 4 fard and then 2 sunnah? No. You're going to pray Maghrib, 3 fard, Isha, 4 fard. Okay? Because when you're joining, you pray nothing in between. Okay? Remember this rule. However, you can perform the sunnah ratiba after completing the prayer. Okay? So for example, you perform the 3 of Maghrib, 4 of Isha. Now that you're done, can you perform 2 sunnah of Maghrib? Yes. And then followed by 2 sunnah of Isha? yes, you can. Clear?
Assalamu alaikum. You mentioned different kind of tatawwur.
Mm-hmm.
Would you mention the categories of tatawwur prayer?
I didn't go into the detail. I just mentioned the different terms that are used. All right. So, for example, sunnah mu'akkada, sunnah ghayr mu'akkada. Likewise, there is mandub. These are terms that you may have heard. Right? So, the point is that anything other than fard falls in the category of tatawwur. Okay? Which means that you can perform it and there is great reward for that. But you can also leave it. Okay? And there is no sin in that. However, there is loss and there is risk. Okay?